Hey y'all, welcome back to Reality Check, please. I'm your host, Cassie, and happy Monday. We are back with our reality rewind where we're talking about some of the stuff that has unfolded in the reality world over the weekend and maybe even at the tail end of last week. So if you're new here, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know where you guys are watching from. What have y'all been up to? How was your weekend? We uploaded our 1 Minute with God devotional this morning, as well as our Love Island finale recap. Before we jump in, make sure you do all the YouTubey things like share, comment, subscribe. So with that all being said, let's jump right in. I want to start off with Brittany Cartwright. She has posted to her Instagram yesterday, yesterday, and she posted what her latest procedure was about. So I am actually super happy for her. If you guys watched Vanderpump Rules, then you know who Brittany Cartwright is. She was married to the god awful Jax Taylor. And recently, I think within the last year, has separated, and I think they're actually going to get divorced pretty soon. I think she said it was around like at the beginning of October. So hopefully that divorce goes through for her sake. But we are back. She posted this picture yesterday to her Instagram where she says, when they said, remove what no longer serves you, I took it literally. In all seriousness, I've kept it, I always keep it real. And so I did a thing, something I've wanted to do for years and finally took the step for me. And I finally took the step for me. I couldn't be happier. Still recovering, but feeling stronger and lighter every day. Can't wait to share more with you soon. Kristen Doty says, my gorgeous girl, dropping your dead weight and went for the upgrade. Sheena says, I see a sparkle. Gretchen Rossi with the hand claps. And Zach, her best friend, says, so happy for you, babe. So if you are an OG, and not even have to be an OG VPR fan, if you guys saw Brittany when she first came on, I think like the first season, Jax paid for her boob implant, like for her boob job, right? And so he was like a little kid, like throwing a tantrum. He says, if I'm paying for them, they're going to be the size that I want them to be. And you start to see his manipulation like very early on in their relationship. So she went bigger. And obviously, I think she kind of covered for him and she protected him for so many years by saying, like, no, it's like, yeah, it's what I want. But he was the devil when it came to their relationship, like really truly like did so much damage to her. So here we see she's recovering. It looks like, I'm not sure if she completely took them out or if she got a reduction. I'm assuming she took them out. She still looks flawless. So I'm so happy for her. On the divorce, I think it's something that she probably needed to do to make herself feel happy about being in her own skin. As moms, it is very difficult to be in postpartum and to kind of look at your body and love your body the way it is now. So I can very much empathize with her in that same situation. Postpartum is difficult, the way your body changes, the weight gain. You're no longer what you were prior to. So it's very difficult. So I am so happy for her that she is happy and that she's doing something for her, because at the end of the day, that is all we want, right? On the topic of Bravo, I want to move on over to Tamra Judge. She recently posted some pictures over the weekend where she attended Alexis Bellino's wedding. So if you're an OC fan, you know the drama between Alexis Bellino, Tamra, and Shannon. Shannon dated Alexis's now husband. She came onto the show last season as a friend of, to kind of rub it in Shannon's face. She is now dating her ex-boyfriend, who apparently never wanted to be on TV, was always camera shy, didn't want his public life on a platform or on TV, only for him to now find another housewife, ex-housewife. Insane. But let's look at some pictures and what the party looked like. So Tamra, I know she has a lot of heat going on her right now, but she looks beautiful. I don't know if I like her dress. I think this is like her after party dress. Okay. Tamra, her caption says, such a beautiful day celebrating the Jansens. Alexis Bellino says, love you, girl. I know that they've had a very tumultuous relationship over the years, especially on Housewives. I mean, Housewives in general can be very tumultuous, but I want to take you guys over to Alexis's page because she has quite literally flooded her Instagram with pictures and they're like nonstop. So this was a People magazine article. They got the People exclusive. And it says Alexis Bellino has tied the knot. The Real Housewives of OC alum married John Jansen at a whimsical rustic venue in Laguna Beach, California on Friday, October 3rd. Truly the most magical day of our lives, Bellino tells People. Get all the details at the link in our bio. Tamra chimes in the comments, says it was the most beautiful wedding, romantic, fun, spiritual wedding I've ever been to. Lovely. I like her dress. It's nude. I like the dress. It's not white. It's different, but I like it actually. I'll give her that. I like the dress. She then continues with some more pictures and she says, I'm married. I love you, Johnny. I'm Mrs. Jansen. Someone in the comments says, dodged a bullet, Shannon Bador. Someone else comments with the iconic line that Tamra gave her one time at an early on Housewives reunion where she says, you are psychotic, Jesus Jugs. So yeah, we'll see a lot of hot and cold comments, I'm sure. But she looks happy. We'll see how long that lasts. She shares some more photos and some more captions. She says, my husband, my forever. Thank you, God, for bringing this man to me and my kids. He loves them as his own, and we're a package deal. I love his kids the same. We are now a family of 8. More pics to come. Tamra Judge, of course, comes into the comments and says, these pictures turned out amazing. So happy for you, my friend. Joe de la Rosas had the best time celebrating you, the most stunning bride. I love you so much. She, I think, is Slade's ex. So I actually do love her dress. I'm a sucker for sequins. So I just wish she wouldn't have chosen a white cocktail dress for her after party. When she didn't do white, she did nude for the ceremony. I don't know. That's just me though. She continues with some more pictures that say my family with all these hearts. It says hashtag Miss Jansen. Thank you, McNoodles Hibachi Grill, for the custom song. We're the Jansens, written for us, and it's on Spotify now. What a surprise. Such a special moment at the reception. Love you, Mac. I don't know about you guys, but I will not be streaming the We're the Jansens song on Spotify. That's just me. Beautiful family, though. Beautiful family. Some more pictures that says, look at my kids in this moment with 1,000 exclamation marks. This is the most amazing day. Thank you to John Jansen for loving me exactly how I am. Thank you to our 6 kids for being such good humans. And I'm also sorry, but there will be a week of wedding photo drops. Yeah, we see that. We see that, Alexis. As quick pause from wedding pics to celebrate rehearsal. Custom ranch hat bar, cowboy hats for guests. Custom surprise song by Mac Noodles Hibachi Grill, where the Jansens available now on Spotify. Incredible special evening. I will say the custom cowboy hats were actually a nice touch. I thought that's real cute, especially for like a rustic wedding. She looks beautiful in this little setup, in this little fit for her rehearsal. Nice touch, nice touch. But what do we think? I think Shannon did dodge a bullet, but that's just me. Real quick, to move on over to Love is Blind, Blake and Jordan both sat down with Access Hollywood and they dropped their YouTube interview, but I'm going to give you guys some of the hot tea that they dropped real quick. In conversation, Blake was actually talking about how he gravitated more towards the outgoing girls, which is why Anna and Megan caught his attention. If they weren't outgoing, he truly didn't want to have a connection with them. He also addresses the reason as to why he left. He quickly started realizing, especially with the producers kind of telling him like, are you sure you're ready to propose? Are you sure you know what you're signing up for? He started truly feeling the weight of the reality sink in on him, and he realized that he just needed more time. We obviously see during the episode where a producer goes up to him and tells him like, you know, just make sure you know what you're doing. This is your decision. And he even tells us in the show, you know, I just need more time. And he's sticking to that answer. He says it has nothing to do with Anna leaving. And now I guess I can understand, especially where he said, you know, he was not in a place where he could confidently propose to someone. And that's the whole point of the show. So props for him for not waiting it out and not, you know, stringing people along and waiting to do the whole thing just to realize that you weren't ready to begin with. So props to him for addressing that. Now moving on over to Jordan and what he said. One thing I did find funny was that Jordan had another connection with somebody who he felt, and now I'm paraphrasing because he didn't say these words. He obviously also didn't say their name because he didn't want to cause problems. But the person that he was talking to, you could tell that they were drinking and how their conversations changed. And he said he didn't want someone like that. People are coming for him in the comments saying, isn't that rich? When he was at the mixer and sees in episode 6 and he kind of got drunk and was made a fool of. I get that. That's valid. But when you're in a social experiment like this and the last thing you want to do is be drunk while on dates, especially early on when you are trying to get to know people, that is not a position or that is not the setting to get drunk. At a mixer, I think it's completely normal. Like obviously Netflix is there, they're footing the bill. They want these people again to be drunk, to make fools of themselves. And that's exactly what they did. They fell into Netflix's trap. So although, yes, I understand why people are saying that, I think that those are two separate subjects, and I'll stick by that. Access Hollywood also asked Jordan, when was the moment that you realized you wanted to propose to Meg? He said when she mentioned that her dad had juvenile diabetes growing up, or type 1 diabetes, he knew in that moment, that's where he kind of realized that he sealed the deal that he wanted to propose to her. Now to, I think, some of the juicy parts, guys, some more serious allegations that are surrounding one of the Love Island's main cast members. this season. Mike, who was in a love square with Megan, Blake, and Jordan, has now been accused on TikTok by not just one person, by several people who have come forward to share their stories and to reach out to other content creators to share their stories. I want to show you guys a video of one of them, and that is Storytime with Ricky. Shout out to her on Instagram. You can also follow her on TikTok, but this is where she actually does some really, really great recaps, and she is always on point. So go follow her, give her a follow. This is her video where she's addressing what people have reached out to her with as far as receipts. Let's take a look.
Mike from Love is Blind doesn't pay his employees, and I have receipts. Yep, that's right, Mr. Wealth Club himself. Love is Blind season 9 dropped today, and you know the tea is already piping hot. First up is Mike, you know, the one who's currently connecting with Sparkle Megan, and said he has a friend that comes and sits in his hot tub, but they're just platonic. The one that's part of a wealth club, yeah, that guy. He owes a bunch of people money around the Denver area. Employees, small businesses, service providers. Maybe that's how he attains all his wealth, is by not paying the people that actually work for him. Let me tell you what I know, and let me show you the receipts. For those of you who don't know, this all started when the cast list was revealed. People in Denver saw that Mike was on that list. They started swarming Netflix's comments with allegations of non-payment. As you can see here, boom, eat shit, boom. Here's another one. Where there's smoke, there's fire. One person saying something, you're like, eh. But when multiple 10 plus people are saying something, you got to look into it. So I started looking into the story. This is just one of like 10. As you can see here, I've got the tea on Mike. I started cleaning for him with a cleaning crew a few years ago. Last summer, I was tired of cleaning, so I started doing more maintenance stuff. Cleaned the pool, did the backyard stuff, pool house, took care of all the hot tubs, weeds, house maintenance, etc. Mike treated me, along with 2 other girls that worked for us, so terribly. I have screenshots to share if you'd like them, which she did in fact share. And he did talk to his employees crazy. He talked so down to us. I finally quit in December. He was mad I quit, so he didn't pay me for November through December. He owes me almost $3,000. I've reached out, called, text, emailed. He ghosted me, blocked me from his Instagram. Here are the texts between her and Mike where she's clearly reminding him to pay her. Never did. She even went as far as filing a complaint against him with the CDLE. And that's just one story. There's another cleaning business. What's hotter than scamming small businesses and moms? You owe us thousands of dollars since you've ignored all my messages and my lawyer. Maybe the Love is Blind Instagram page is your preferred method of communication. I have the letter from the lawyer, literally hiring these small businesses, having them do services for him, and then not paying them. As you can see here, we represent name of company. He owes them $1,500. If you are part of a wealth club, if you have so much money, sir, why are you not paying your employees and service providers? There's more proof that they had to send his ass to collections. Boom, boom. Again, having to ask for their money. Again, all of these stories are from different people. What people don't see is that behind the polished image he's now presenting on Love is Blind, he was extremely manipulative and abusive to the people who kept his business running. He routinely withheld pay, demanded we clean things far beyond reasonable standards, and would yell and demean us for things most clients wouldn't even know. He blurred boundaries with his staff and fostered a toxic, unsafe work environment. He exploited people who depended on him for a paycheck and then held their livelihood over their heads. The public should know that the way he treated his cleaners was the exact opposite of the charming persona he's now trying to present. Actually, he's coming off on the show as quite a douchebag and a weirdo. But it's also good to know that he's a con artist. This is a whole other story from an entirely different person. Pause to read. It's a pattern at this point. It's a pattern at this point. Literally so many receipts and so many people just saying that this guy is not paying that. Let me guess. They're all just wanting 5 minutes of fame, right? How about if you have so much wealth, you pay your fucking employees, pay your service providers, pay the people that are keeping your Airbnbs running. Running around on Love is Blind trying to act like you're this successful businessman, pay your employees. And you guys, one of his ex, after they broke up, he created a fake text now number and pretended to be an employer and set up a job interview way in New York. She flew to New York thinking she was going on a job interview, and when she showed up, it was Mike. Allegedly. What in the Law and Order? Oh, and I didn't even tell you guys about Peak Event Partners. That's the business that Mike was the CFO of, and allegedly he bankrupted his partner, but he's lucky his partner is past it and doesn't want to talk about it. But this is the better Business Bureau complaint where he was allegedly trying to swindle somebody out of $3,000 and was going to not make due on their order for their wedding that was in 10 days. You can literally read the complaint. I booked a wedding event package, tent, chairs, and tables for my wedding with Peak Event Partners. I received the expected automated email from them asking for the remainder owed. I wanted to make sure the details were finalized, so I emailed and called them repeatedly prior to making my payment. I hadn't heard anything from them. I went to their physical location, saw other customer complaints taped to their office doors. The office been closed for several weeks. The vendor was going to not deliver on the contract for my wedding in 10 days and was still requesting final payment. He calls himself CFO, but knows nothing about finances, spent all the money that came into the company, paid himself more each month than the company even made, bankrupted the CEOs, and years of lawyers and court later, the CEO of Peak is finally through it all. I feel awful for Blank. That's the name of his partner. My husband and I told him from the start that Mike was a horrible man, but he only saw the good in Mike until Mike showed his true self. So allegedly, he bankrupted Peak Event Partners and screwed over his business partner. Now, Mike says this is all not true. Of course, he has a different, story of events of why that company went under. But if I had to put my money on it, considering that he's the Airbnb swindler, I would put my money on he screwed over his business partner rather than his business partner screwed him over. But this story comes from somebody who is very good friends with the business partner. Anywho, that's the tea on Mike. He is, in fact, a real estate investor and has a bunch of Airbnbs that he owns and manages, but he takes advantage of his employees and the small businesses that help those businesses run by utilizing their services and then not paying them. Of course, Mike says that all of this is not true and everybody's just lying on him. But you know what doesn't lie? Receipts.
Wow. That is crazy. What do you guys think? I knew I had a weird feeling about Mike all along. If you watched our previous recaps, and I've said it before, something about him never sat right with me. So I'm happy that he did not go forward with Megan because I feel like he would have literally ruined her businesses because she's like a business owner, right? She has her own she has her own money. He would have literally not only leached off of her, but he would have run her money to the ground. So that was a huge bullet that she dodged, honestly. Now, I want to talk about one last thing before we wrap up. I know we didn't talk about this last week on our recap, and I realized that after the fact, and I kind of felt bad, but I figured I would address this on a separate video, and here we are. So if we remember correctly, the last episode before Mexico, I think episode 5, we see where Patrick and Kacie reveal, right? They had their reveal, and she looked pretty into it. They looked pretty happy. And then we quickly realized that was not the case. She asked to speak to him. He goes over to the women's hotel and she breaks the news that she is not ready, but she kind of firmly states that it had nothing to do with his looks to his face. However, behind his back and to the cameras of Love Island, she said that the physical connection was just not there. She said it over and over again. And she even said, I know how bad this sounds. Then she goes back to him and she even tells him, they're going to try and spin it to say that it's about your looks and it has nothing to do with that. Patrick spoke to people and he says he absolutely questions Kacie's intentions after being blindsided by her actions. I will say this. I don't think I've ever seen a man, and a lot of people are saying this as well, how insecure he is about his ethnicity. He's not a bad looking man. I wish he just loved himself more, honestly. Like, as seeing him, he is a good looking man. He just needs to love himself more. But going back to the article, it says, because she didn't outwardly say she wanted things to end between them for good, Patrick interpreted that she wasn't ready to get married and they'd continue dating off camera. He says, I thought that she wanted to just go away from the cameras and just let's hang out for a second. That's why I was like, don't worry, we can slow it down. But like I said, to cameras, Kacie admitted that she was not physically attracted to Patrick and he deserves a woman who was obsessed with him. After their final goodbye, which we saw Kacie straddle Patrick with a hug and kiss him several times, the two went their separate ways. He said he was definitely completely blindsided. His intuition was already kicking in a little bit before even having conversations. Following their split, Patrick admits he absolutely questioned Kacie's intentions and if they were genuine. He says, I had a range of thoughts. I tried to find the answer in my head forever, he explains. Pick through information, text her, call her, and ask her for a conversation. I never got any of that. So I'm piecing it all together. Is it because I'm ugly? Is it because I'm not cool? Is it because I'm too much? Is it because she already had a boyfriend? Is it because she wanted to be famous? Speaking of, I did hear, I can't remember if she said it on TV. I think she did. That she was actually shooting or trying out for another show. Shout out to the Bravo investigator. They shared this picture and they said, I think we can assume the other reality dating show that reached out to Kacie. Isn't this the audition for Love Island? That's what I thought. I thought it was probably Love Island. Again, Patrick said in the People article that he thought maybe she had a boyfriend. People were speculating that it could be the ultimatum, but she is still telling articles that no, it had nothing to do with his looks, that she just wasn't ready. I don't know. He thinks different, and so do we. But pop off in the comment sections. Let me know what you guys think. We talked about a lot. These reality rewinds will be a little longer because we're talking about several subjects in one. However, not too long. So let me know what you guys think of these rewinds. We will try, now that Love Island is finally over, we will now focus on just giving you little Islander updates. I know those are people's favorites. Those are the ones that do the best on our channel. So we will keep up with those, and we will talk about not just Love Island USA, but Love Island games as well. So pop up in the comment sections, give me all your feedback of this episode, and we will catch you guys tomorrow for our Islander update where we talk about Nicolandria and Andrea and Josh. So pop up in the comment sections. Let me know what you think. Have a great rest of your Monday. Bye, y'all.